like one of those situations where you did a look, really not planning what to do, and then it turns out so very well and you have nowhere to go, nobody to see the look, and you're like, so what's the point of the exercise? I'm like, I'm beat to the gods. Look, I could go out on a date, and I'm like, but you can't go anywhere because people refuse to wear their face mask and wash their hands. So you know what? Decided to just film a video instead. So here you go, YouTube. You are my dates tonight. Hey guys, Colleen here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, make sure to subscribe on your way out, and if you're an oldie but a goodie, thank you so very much for coming back. Yes, I know, dramatic look, but you know what, it's Friday night, why not? I can't go anywhere, the restaurant's closed, not like if I was going to any club, you understand, but all the Lyman places closed, so we're going to Lime here on YouTube, right? So the girl wants to talk about her 5 favorite primers, so if you are interested, stay tuned. Okay, so diving into the primers that I absolutely love that you need to try if you haven't tried them already. Now I know I like to do budget friendly versions, but for me, I don't know, sometimes putting in the little investment makes sense, because for me, if you invest in a very good primer and a good foundation, sometimes that's all you need. Like listen, this face here that beat like primer, foundation, and I'm feeling like Naomi Campbell here, like no lie. I'm feeling nice. Anyhow, trying not to be distracted again. I love the Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer, the liquid version. The balm is great, but the liquid version is even better. Why? Because one, you don't have to scoop in the bowl to get product. This has a pump on it, so you could dispense product with ease and make sure that you don't take out too much. And it's a nice liquidy lotion, so it just blends into the skin easily and seamlessly. Look how nicely that blended in. And this, honestly, like, this is face tune for your face. Like, you know what I'm talking about, like this blurs your face and you have like this porcelain like dolly skin, and I love this. I wish they had brought out this version first instead of the balm, because I really like this over the balm, and basically it's the same price as the balm, but I mean, if I were to tell you, get this liquid version over the balm, like hands down, the liquid is way better. Now the next primer that I absolutely love, hands down, this has been repurchased, is the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. Now I did do a video a couple months ago where I indicated that the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer is a great dupe for the Milk Hydro Grip. Now this is $8, this is $30 US. Now my only concern is if e.l.f. discontinues this primer, you may not be able to get it, but you can probably get your hands on it now if you really want to get a good dupe for this. But this one is really good. Now this, you know, everybody jumped on the hemp / cannabis train last year, and everything was CBD this, CBD that, and this is no exception. Now for me, what I like about this primer is that, and it was weird to adjust to, it has a jelly consistency. It's very sticky, but the stickiness of the primer basically holds your makeup in place. So if you're looking for a primer that basically extends the life of your foundation, look, it's very sticky. It legit feels like glue, but when I tell you, it works so well at holding my makeup in place. Well, yeah, like seriously, if you haven't tried it, you need to try it. Now I just hit you with two very expensive primers, so I'm going to give you a more affordable drugstore one, and this is one that in my opinion could run with the big boys. I have used this consistently for probably the past 3 years, and I am absolutely hands down impressed with this primer. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Face Primer, and this is the matte version. Now, what is interesting about this primer is that even though it keeps you very matte, the foundation itself is not one of those drying, hear me, foundations. Primer, so used to talking about foundation, but this primer is not very dry. It actually comes out as a white lotion, and it glides nicely on the skin and blends out beautifully. But what it does is that this holds the oils in place. Like, the oils don't peep out for hours, and I mean, I cannot begin to tell you the amount of drugstore primers that I have tried, and none of them, and when I say none of them have been able to hold my oils at bay the way the Wet n Wild matte face primer has. And the great thing about it now is that Pennywise carries it, so you can get it there at any Pennywise branch nationwide, and it is very affordable. I think it's around 60 to 65 TT dollars, and you can't beat that with a stick. So I highly recommend, if you're on a budget, to get this face primer, especially if you have oily skin. Now the next primer that I'm about to talk about is a primer that I have been purchasing for the past 5 years, and I'm like, if Colleen buying a primer for 5 years in a row, that had to be love. That, listen, and all you know me with makeup, like, I love to try all kinds of makeup, but if you can get me to consistently purchase a primer for 5 years without fail, that is real love. And listen, I'm telling you, I really love the Becca Evermatt Poreless Perfecting Primer. Now, I remember when this first released, all of YouTube was talking about it. Since then, of course, it has been replaced with the newer kids on the block. But when I tell you that this primer is a really good primer for oily skin, listen, I live in the Caribbean. Not only do I live in the Caribbean, the country I live in is very close to the equator, and we know heat like nobody business. Like, seriously, heat is our middle name, and this primer could handle that heat. Like, I could use the crappiest of foundations, and this primer will hold that foundation in place and make sure those oils do not seep through and break down that foundation. Now, a trick I would say in terms of the application, because this primer is a little on the stiffer side, I would recommend that you take it between your fingers and warm it up. So let me just show you what I mean by stiff. This is a very stiff primer. You see it squeezing up there. It is very stiff, and because it's very stiff, if you use too much, it will start balling up, and you will have problems in terms of applying it. So, like, I like to warm it up in my fingers and then press it, you know, in the areas that, you know, gives me the most problems, you see? And I have no problems applying it, even with the foundation on. You understand? Now, this one is a little more on the expensive side, but trust me when I say a little of this goes a very long way. And I mean, the shelf life on this is 2 years. This lasts me a good year, and it works well even after that year. So if you're looking to try a really good primer and you have oily skin, you also have texture, you have pores, issues like that, this is a very good 2-in-1 primer to get. Now the last primer, listen, this is the mother of all primers. Like, if you don't know about this primer, you have oily skin, you claim to be somebody who really love makeup, and you know about this primer, I don't know what to tell you. Like, seriously, you need to get it in your life. It will change your life. Is that kind of primer. And that is the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer. This is probably my most expensive primer. It's $54 US. It's a lot of money, but it's worth every penny. Like, this primer, it's a mineral and oil free primer, which is great, especially if you have oily skin, because oil on top of oil is no bueno. And this also has SPF in it, so it's great to use during the day. I wouldn't recommend it any night unless you want to look like Flashback Betty, you know. But this during the day, like, I like to use this primer when I'm out, when I know I am in the hot sun and, you know, I'm getting beat down by the sun. And what I like about this primer is it's a nice lotion, right? So that's it there, just for demonstration. And you're actually seeing like the SPF mineral in it, right? And this glides in so very beautifully. Like, this also gives a really nice filter on the skin. But when I tell you, this holds your makeup and keeps your oils at bay, you really need to try it out. Now, for the more expensive primers, I would say wait till there is a sale to get it. But there are also other cheaper alternatives. I will link in the cards above the video I did with primer dupes of more expensive ones if you're looking to save some coins. But basically, those are my top 5 fave primers. Like, people ask, like, Colleen, what do you use on your face? Your foundation looks flawless, it looks very skin-like, it's staying put, how it not moving, how it not this, how it not that. Listen, those are the primers I use, guys. You know, and sometimes I like to double prime. I may use a little combination, some on the T-zone, some on the cheeks, some on the forehead, some on the chin. But yeah, those are the top 5 primers I use. And you know, you're gonna have a lot of primers, but those are the ones I would recommend to anybody looking for a very good primer to add to their makeup collection. Yeah, and basically that is it for my top 5 primers. Tell me, what are your top 5, or what are your top primers? Like, let me know if you have a completely different selection of primers, and, you know, tell me why you like those primers. Maybe I could probably like check in and see if I could find some new loves. But those 5 I mentioned are definitely my loves in terms of primers. And basically that is it for this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Do make sure to like this video, comment in the comment section below, share this video, and subscribe. The girl's trying to get to 5,000. I'm very close, and I can't wait to have a celebration when I hit that 5,000 mark. So thank you so very much for watching, and until the next time, bye guys.